I know for a fact that Joe Sloan, the offensive coordinator for LSU football, Blake Baker, the defensive coordinator for LSU football, have been locked in on the College World Series. They've been tweeting. They were fired up when Bear Jones hit that walk-off single to eliminate Arkansas and reach the championship series. They might have their hands a little bit full this weekend, though, because it is a huge one on campus for recruiting for LSU football. We got to talk about it. We'll bring in our guy, Preston Guy, TigerBait.com, to do so. Preston, how are we doing on this Friday?
Oh, I'm doing good. And, I'm sure Joe Sloan was thinking to himself as he saw Bear Jones make that athletic grab there. I guess that would have been about the second inning, and he had 2 feet in bounds if you look at the foul line there. So I'm sure, and look, he's got a big body. I'm sure he could do some damage at tight end. I'm just saying Joe Sloan had to be thinking maybe give it a try, but I guess you look at Bauer, Sharp, and Trades Green and probably say you're good to go.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay. That was a good play. I think that ball was going to hook foul, but Bear Jones didn't. He's played some good defense at his time here, and his dad played a little football at the University of Georgia. So there's some genes there if LSU wants to tap into it. But I think Jared's just got one more weekend left in college before he heads to the professional ranks. Let's talk about some guys who are headed to the college ranks, and they have a lot of stars next to their name, and they're headed to Baton Rouge. I want to start with Tristan Keys. He's obviously been a very, very hot topic over the last few weeks. Been an LSU commitment, visited other places, canceled some visits as well. What can you kind of tell us about where that situation is right now?
Yeah, I mean, Tristan Keys, I think it's one of those situations where, he's getting money and wined and dined by everybody in the country. And I think right now he loves LSU, and it's a lot of reading the tea leaves, what we're doing right now with him, because I really think it's just him figuring it out, okay? You've seen him tweet some love to LSU, even talking about Bo Bentley, trying to say he wants Bo Bentley to come to LSU. That's, of course, the quarterback who LSU's really high on for 2026, who is doing really good work down there at the Elite 11 camp right now, by the way. He's down to LSU in Oklahoma, and it's by no means a given that he will end up being an LSU Tiger, but I'm sure Tristan Keys, if he's able to convince him to come, I'm sure that's a little compelling, get to throw to that guy. So, yes, he's on campus. He's got some really good official visit. I know LSU officials, when he didn't make it to the 7-on-7 2 weeks ago, they were really, really looking forward to getting him on here for an OV. It's just a huge deal to get him on campus for this official visit. And, you're going to have to hang on for 6 more months before you get his signature. But needless to say, good progress here. Getting him back on your campus.
Seems like Lamar Brown enjoyed his time in College Station, and there was some reporting like, hey, he's not going to LSU even though he's already in town. Yeah. And then he's like, yeah, I am going to go to LSU. So what do you know about that situation?
Woo! Lamar Brown, man, his recruiting process just started so early. LSU got in on him when he was a freshman, and he's just been out there. And, I think he's just had a lot of people in his ears for many years now, and he's had ups and downs with his relationship with LSU. Sometimes he's not feeling it, and other times he's come out saying, well, of course LSU's still the favorite. But he's there today, and he's actually hanging out with Mason Smith today, which is a good sign to see, a good recent alumni there trying to pitch him to come wear the purple and gold. When he canceled his official visit, I think it was 90 minutes later that it was then reported, no, his official visit is still on. So, I think that we're dealing with teenagers and kids who, sometimes put out information a little too early. Sometimes they're not as guarded as they should, and they, think something on a whim, and then they talk to a coach and they change their mind. So that is the fickle nature of the kids we're dealing with, and Lamar Brown is no exception to that, of course. I can tell you he's very talented, and they'll be interested to see which side of the ball LSU gets him out there at first, because he wants to play offensive and defensive line. So number 1 player in your state, you'd love to get him, especially considering the number 2 player in the state canceled his official visit this weekend to LSU. That is Blaine Bradford. He went to Ohio State instead of LSU, and that is a bad sign.
Yeah, no question about that. I don't know that I was aware of that. I'm a little bit up to my shoulders in some baseball up here. But
sure,
tell us about what's going on with him. I mean, I would imagine that you're running out of time as far as the visit season goes here in the summer.
Yeah, during the summer, for sure. You can still take officials during fall camp I mean, you get your, whatever number of visits. I think actually now you get unlimited visits, but there's some stipulation. I have to go read the rule real quick, but they changed it. Anyways, there's still time to make it Brown. Of course, you can't even sign the dotted line till December. But right now, LSU's just in a bad spot trying to flip him. He committed to Ohio State maybe 3 months ago or so. And LSU just hasn't been able to gain any momentum on that yet. They're going to keep on fighting. You never want to see, a top 2 player in your own state, in your hometown, Baton Rouge, go out. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes kids, they're from here. They just, for whatever reason, didn't grow up hardcore LSU fans. And, sometimes they really want to get away. They want to do something different. And, I think you got to find out the case here. Is it he just felt Ohio State was best for him? Is it that Ohio State gave him an NIL offer he couldn't pass up? Or is it that he's just not that interested in LSU? We'll have to see, but right now LSU's in a tough spot.
It's too early to tell this, I think, Preston. You tell me, I'll ask. But there was this time last year, one of the first questions out of most recruits' mouths is, okay, how much money you got? And now with the new house settlement and with the fact that everything's got to go through a clearinghouse, and I'm hearing that that's going pretty efficiently, is the recruiting conversation likely changing now as away from like, here's how much money I can give you today, no problems, no problem?
Yeah, and I think revenue sharing, I think that kind of evens the playing field because, more so than having to go out and raise money through an NIL collective, schools can now give money directly. So basically anywhere you go, you're going to get some money as long as you're not, a major – let's put it like this. The difference between Georgia and LSU, how much money you're going to be making, is it going to be just ludicrously different, So it really kind of evens the playing field. I'll tell you this, Hunt. There's not a single kid I've interviewed in the last 3 years who has admitted to, I'm very interested in NIL opportunities. Every single one of these kids says, yeah, I don't really care about money in college. I'm here for the development. That same old school answer we would have gotten before NIL.
Sure.
So it's really hard to actually get a pulse on how the kids are actually feeling about all that. So, we will see. It's been the same message, though. It's been, no, I don't care about money.
All right, last one here, Preston. Anybody? We talked about Brown. We talked about Bradford. We talked about, obviously, Keys. Is there anybody else that you're looking at this weekend that's very important that LSU's got on campus?
Well, you're keeping, you got 2 commitments coming in. You got Haven Finney and Jamari Mack coming to campus. You definitely want a really good chance to keep and retain those guys, but keep an eye out for Boobie Feaster, man. I mean, you're talking about the wide receiver out of DeSoto, Texas. DeSoto, Texas has been nice to LSU over the years. If you add him to that receiver class, particularly if you don't feel too comfortable on Tristan Keys, I would have to imagine this is probably the best receiver class in the country if you're able to add him to that list. I haven't, gone down the list and looked at everybody, but I know LSU's got the best one in the country, and they've got 3 other studs if you get Boobie Feaster. So you'd have to be feeling pretty good if you get those guys.
Let's hope. We'll see. There'll certainly be updates on TigerBait.com throughout the weekend. Preston, tell them where they can find all of that, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, man. Y'all make sure to keep up with our YouTube channel, TigerBait on YouTube. Our website's where we're going to post everything. Y'all can always go follow me, Preston Guy, on Twitter.
Appreciate it, man. Have a great weekend. We'll talk next week.
All right. Thanks, Hunt.
Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.